Hello, hi there. Welcome to Guiding Voice podcast series, The Guiding Voice for a Better Future. This podcast is to help professional students, IT employees, and entrepreneurs to shape their careers. So, dear listeners, in every episode, we interact with industry experts or academicians or coaches across the globe to drive some insightful conversations that will help our audience learn great things. And also, towards the end of every episode, we share an interesting trivia or fun fact around the IT world. Thank you for tuning in. This is Naveen, and I'm with my co-host Sudhakar. So today, we are going to discuss an important topic, which is B2B Career Prospects and Roadmap for MBA Marketing Management Students. And we are pleased to welcome Sandeep to our show.
Hello Sudhakar and Naveen, great to participate in your show. So looking forward to it.
Thank you, Sandeep. Sandeep Maity is an industrial B2B sales, marketing, strategy, services and consulting leadership professional with over 3 decades of experience, having worked in various Indian and multinational companies like L&T, ABB, Danfoss, LAPP, etc. etc. Sandeep has his own consulting company which offers services to Indian companies, multinational companies, startups, along with micro, small and medium enterprises. Sandeep, we are excited to have you today. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Hey Sandeep, let's talk quickly about the 3 decades of your career journey. How did it all start?
Oh wow, that's to reflect back the 3 decades. Yeah, I'll try to put it in a nutshell. Yeah, I graduated out of this REC, nowadays called as NIT, Nagpur. And after the campus selection, landed off with the Tata Group company called Nelco in Mumbai. So started off my career. My love was power electronics. So did my electronics and power engineering, started off with power electronics, and Nelco Industrial Systems division was an interesting one. They had a tie-up with General Electric and they had their own variable speed drives. So we started off doing engineering, execution, shop floor, screwdriver, then going to the site, customer interaction. Had the beautiful experience of experiencing Tata's iron and steel plant in Jamshedpur and was involved in various installation, commissioning, engineering. That's how I started off. Then moved on to L&T, Larsen & Toubro, again in Mumbai. Again a beautiful setup. So Nelco was specializing in metal industry. L&T gave more on other process industry. So it was very good to get cement, paper, steel, apart from rubber, tires, different experience. After these 2 Indian companies, I was keen to get into to know what a multinational works like. And that's how I got the opportunity in Bangalore, ABB, Asia Brown Brewery. Again, a very good experience, right from switching from analog to digital, managing a business unit, managing people, business, new product launches. Very, very exciting. And to get the multinational way of working. Then moved on to a joint venture, experiencing a joint venture. It's like a startup nowadays, startup. It was a company just formed, nascent, heading the sales and marketing, working with Italian Ansaldo and Indian JV Kirloskars together. It was great experience all in Bangalore. Then moved on to another multinational company called Danfoss, which was a Danish company just starting off in India in 99. So we started off another startup, you can say, a 400 square feet hotel room in Chennai. And from there, it was an amazing experience. Today, it's a 1,000 plus crore company. And it was a 100% subsidiary, establishing the businesses from zero, customers, then own colleagues. Then we moved into office setup. Very exciting on that. So working for the Indian business for about 5 odd years, then got an opportunity to work for them abroad. So worked in Europe, then China, Asia Pacific and all. Came back to India 2013. So European business exposure was good for Danfoss. Also the China, Asia Pacific, we were doing it from Bangalore, traveling a lot. After that moved on to a Finnish company called Vacon. Again into heavy metal project, big systems, and thereafter again Danfoss and Vacon merged. I got back into some different interesting roles of merger management, pricing, and managing different operations, various leadership roles over this. And my last assignment was with the German company called LAPP. There I was handling the complete channel distribution business for all India. Again, very interesting, about 200 odd distributors spread across 75 cities. Very interesting role. And then I said, okay, since you asked me 3 decades, I said, okay, 3 decades, many companies learnt a lot. Why don't I do something of my own? And that's what I started. I registered my company in 2017, started a bit, then went into the LAPP role, and then again restarted. with my own management consultancy for Indian companies, MNCs, startups, and that's where I am talking to all of you.
Wow, amazing 3 decades in brick and mortar manufacturing side of the industry. Sandeep, you have been visiting business schools to interact with the students, right?
Right.
So, what are some of the observations that you noticed which evolved over the last 3 decades, starting from your regional engineering college experience to current IIMs and ISBs of the world?
The management schools also evolved over time. In our times, when we started, it was just a plain MBA, which was in the offering, and then you had a mix of all. Then came the segregation, of specialization, where, normally the first years will be common, and then you segregate the second year into finance, marketing, or operations, HR, different roles started evolving. But as we just moved on, that is in terms of the course. But what I found as I interact, and even the recent interaction which we had with various, management, like I interact a lot with Wellington University out here, and also Christ University, and few others earlier in my professional career when we were doing interviewing with candidates from Symbiosis and other places. And of course, had a stint in IIM as a working professional for some courses. The courses have evolved. They have, I think, moved on with time, and they have evolved to become more industry oriented or industry friendly, I would say. So I think academics have really moved, whether it is B2C or B2B or technology. They have really evolved and kept pace with times. I will not say it's 100% fit because, industries move at a faster pace than academics, but academics have evolved and kept pace with the industries. And we normally see a good fit when you recruit anybody, that they get going within 6 months or 8 months of recruitment after the orientation.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, Sandeep. Especially the summer internships and all other options that are available for MBA students are very prominent these days, and they're giving that kind of exposure so that these guys are ready to work from day one. Talking a different note, in the current generation, like what are some of the career options that are available for MBA marketing management students?
Okay. If you look especially at MBA marketing, actual world we call sales and marketing. In a specialization in MBA we call marketing. There are many options. I think today's ecosystem, as we were talking, has evolved a lot. Students who graduate today, they have different options or a wider range of options. So if I talk some of them may start their own business. It could be one category based on the MBA knowledge they have. Some may follow the business in the family and become the next generation to take over. And some of them will join corporate, startups, VC firms. But if you look specifically from a marketing point, different roles which comes to my mind. One is straight away you can be in the marketing in terms of communication, branding and promotions. That could be one. If you're joining a company or running your own company or running a family business. That's a communication, branding and promotion role which comes to my mind first. Second, if you move on a little more depth, there is a strategic marketing role which can be another one which can help, which is related with pricing, segmentation, competitive benchmarking, different strategic elements. There's a third kind of role in the markets, what's called as business development, normally used for developing new markets or when there is a new product with multiple stakeholders. That's another kind of role. Then there is a direct sales role where you're given certain customers to expand the business. The sales given a territory and a products and services and certain set of customers. So sales role could be direct and indirect. Direct means you're directly handling those customers, or another could be indirect through channel partners. You have distribution channels, managing distribution channels, and through them handling customers. So these are 4 kinds. There are emerging roles which are 2 interesting ones which can be also an option is, nowadays the sales enablement or sales excellence roles are also quite popular. This has emerged a lot in the last few years where you work to enable the people who are in marketing sales by sharing best practices and continuous improvement of processes and systems as per benchmarking to take the company to a journey of profitable growth. And another interesting role as MBA marketing students, they are used in what we call as strategic project coordination for many companies. So they report to the leadership team, and multiple companies are doing various strategic projects, either diversifying or consolidating. So strategic projects. So these are some of the roles which comes to my mind today. The last 2 more so in the last few years.
That's a great summary, and looks like there are so many options available today for the marketing professionals. And coming to today's topic, the B2B, which is business to business. So from a career standpoint, what are some avenues in this B2B space?
In the B2B space, there are quite some avenues. As I outlined some of the roles earlier, in terms of avenues, in terms of you looking for companies, B2B is business to business. A business entity sells to a business entity, right? So one hand, you have got infrastructure companies, which is very good to join companies building the nation's infrastructure. That's the first one. And there are a whole lot of companies into that. I mean, Larsen & Toubro ranks among the top in my mind, also being my previous employer. So infrastructure companies is one big place where you can look for the roles, which I outlined earlier. The next level where you can go is engineering companies who are into heavy engineering production solutions. That's the second category of companies. The third, automobile sector. There's a big thing happening, moving from IC to, electric vehicles, automobile, another big sector. Then, of course, you have machine tools, textiles, mining, cement, paper, a whole variety of B2B. So, all B2B either as manufacturers of heavy engineering goods and services or as users like process industries, like paper, cement, mining, steel. These are process industries. There were wide options. So I think in terms of B2B, and these are the conventional industries. Then if you look at the new industries like renewables, a lot coming up. AI, ML based robotics, a lot coming up. So that's on the other end of the spectrum. So wide options. I hope I have been able to say this in terms of types of industries. And the roles, of course, I outlined in the previous question. So I hope it gives a good mix.
It does actually, Sandeep. It provides the overall perspective to the audience on what are the opportunities that are available in business to business arena. Following up on that, what are some of the attributes that one should possess to excel in this field?
Okay, that's an interesting one. So if you have to look for attributes, MBA teaches you a lot, right? So that's what I call knowledge, and some of the students, when they do the projects with the industry, they get a little element of skill, right? So knowledge and skill comes. So the element which I would like to talk about are things which are not exactly in the skill list or knowledge list. It's more what I'll talk through about a personal edge, or an attitude, you can say. So one of the things, what is, how are you different from others? Like the personal edge, it's your initiative taking, are you a good communicator? These kind of elements which are very important to consider. Then another is, of course, the passion which comes out as fire in the belly. You show that initiative and the passion that you're really looking for this. So in terms of attributes, I would say three things: good communicator, a personal edge, it could be on different elements showing the attitude, and of course the passion, which is the fire in the belly. So those are the three things beyond the MBA curriculum, and this helps, so long this is sustainable, it helps in the long journey.
Sandeep, continuing on that question, what are the additional skills that MBA students should acquire which are not typically taught in schools and colleges?
Okay, which are not taught in schools and colleges, additional skills.
That's correct.
Okay, one of the biggest thing which happens, in our whole education system is right from schools, colleges, and when we do our graduation and then post-graduation, we are all taught to get the good grades, the good marks, and it's like more of an individual performance coming on the top, which comes. So now we talked about additional skills. I think the biggest thing is learning to work in teams. That's the additional skill which is not specifically taught to us, and that's where we need to adapt. So nearly 20 plus years or 20 to 25 years of our life, we're used to, being more of I rather than we. And the biggest thing we need to learn, that we mindset or the we way of working in teams is always more effective or more fruitful to the company. I think that's one thing, team working, team building, I would say, is additional skills which is very much required. The second thing, if I think of, is it's a fast changing world. The ecosystems are changing very fast, new technologies are coming. So you, as an individual, I think we are not taught or how to handle change and to be adaptable and flexible to the new ecosystem. The rate of change, if I reflect back, has been coming in my professional career every 5 to 6 years. But from today's generation, they will see it every 2 years or every 1.5 to 2 years. You can see the pace. So how to deal with change and be adaptable and flexible? I would say this is the second one. So team working and adaptable and flexibility to the change. Those two, I would say, are the additional skills.
Great tips. Sandeep, you have worked with some great organizations and big brands. Like you partially mentioned about your startup in the introduction, but what made you to think about starting your own venture?
Okay, that's an interesting one. See, when you work with multiple companies, you learn something. As I was saying at the start of the questions, that you're learning something in my initial days with the Tata Group company, Nelco, the Larsen Toubro taught me about. Then you learn something from the multinational joint ventures and 100% subsidiaries. Then you learn from European business, Chinese business, different. You learn from different kind of businesses, different things. So what made me start this is these are all big companies which have been able to garner the resources to improve. So these best practices which are in operation, if those are shared with our MSMEs, which contribute 30% of our GDP in our country, and the startups. These two, I would say, was one of the desires for me to share these experiences, best practices, so that they can create a solid foundation for growth. And that's what prompted me to start my own venture to support. And today I am with different startup forums. We are working as a growth consultant to many companies, which are in the 50 crore, 100 crore, 150 crore range. And that gives me immense satisfaction, how they can set it up the same way like other big companies have done. So that was the trigger, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's noble cause. Indeed, you want to give back to the community and mentor the budding entrepreneurs and all. So, which is very good. Sandeep, one final question for this session. What is your one piece of advice for those aspiring to make big in their careers?
Okay, one piece of advice if I do is, it's a fast changing world. So apart from conventional fields, be open for trying out the new ones earlier in your career. So if you have to look at your first 10 years of career, please try out as much new fields as possible. It could be startup, could be even private equity companies. If you look at new fields today, it's a whole world, with artificial intelligence, robotics, renewable, solar, wind, biomass, 3D printing, nanotechnology, IoT, digitalization, driverless transportation or electric vehicles. The whole of these new things are coming. So it is better at the first 10 years, try out the new things, because that might replace or might emerge even bigger than the conventional business. So that's where it would be my advice. Of course, it will test you a lot on your adaptability and flexibility, which we talked earlier.
Absolutely. I think those are wonderful insights.
That's a great summary, Sandeep. Testing the adaptability and flexibility in the initial part of anyone's career gives the foundation required to grow big. That's amazing. Thank you. Sandeep, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a great talk about B2B career prospects and at broad level, students across industries, across fields, specifically on MBA marketing. Thanks for taking your time.
Thank you, both of you, Sudhakar and Naveen, for good interaction. And I hope this will help the stakeholders as you are doing a very noble cause of also sharing different experiences from different people from different fields for the benefit of the students, the working professionals. So all my best wishes to both of you to carry on this good work.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, and thanks for joining us and being part of our cause. Appreciate your time and efforts.
Thank you.
Dear listeners, to know more about our speaker and the content, refer to the show notes and visit or follow us on social media. We are available on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, Pinterest, and also on YouTube. Just search for The Guiding Voice and then follow, like, subscribe to us, and also please share within your network. In addition, please feel free to email us at theguidingvoice4you. That is THEGUIDINGVOICE, 4 as a digit, U as a letter, at gmail.com, or WhatsApp us on India number 9494587187. Again, it is India number 9494587187, and we will be happy to collaborate with you.
Hey, Sudhakar, I think we also need to talk about the exciting opportunity of featuring our audience on this show.
Sure, Naveen. So guys, of late, we have been receiving a lot of career guidance related questions from our regular listeners through YouTube, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and email. And we are responding to them on one-on-one basis. Now, we are pleased to open up a new mode of interacting with you all while providing a chance to broadcast yourself. If you have any questions related to education, career guidance, or a specific IT function, just send your voice message through speakpipe.com/theguidingvoice. We will play your question in your own voice along with the answer either from us or from our expert panel members in our future episodes. Hope you will utilize this wonderful opportunity.
Alright, so it brings us to the trivia segment of today's episode. And today's trivia is about the first computer. So, have you ever wondered what was the size of the first computer? Maybe you started guessing it, but let me tell you. The first computer was almost 2.5 meters high and it weighed 30,000 kgs. Very massive and bulky, right? Interesting, isn't it? Thank you for listening. There is more in store, folks. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful time. Take care. Be safe. Until next time. Bye-bye.